one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Next item on the agenda is the approval of the agenda. Pleasure of the committee.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Denon, second by Mr. Salvatore. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? And that motion carries 7-0. Next item on the agenda is student government, student activities. Someone here to speak this evening? Good evening.
Good evening. My name is Hannah Ballou, Government Assistant.
And my name is Serena Fox, Government Historian.
On the 11th of February, student government assisted in our second blood drive hosted by CHS. 50 donations were received and up to 150 lives can be saved. On February 24th, parent-teacher conferences were held at the school. Student government representatives guided parents to their children's classes and served as babysitters for their other children.
This month, CHS is participating in Pennies for Patients, and so far we have raised approximately $500 for the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society. Our goal is to reach $10,000. To kickstart the fundraising, students made donations during lunch and advisory. We will continue raising money for Pennies for Patients through the middle of March, and will hold various competitions for top fundraising classes. Thank you for your time, and we hope that we have provided insight into the activities that student government conducts.
Thank you. And nice job. Next item on the agenda is the consent agenda, approval of minutes from regular meeting 2/11/2016, and executive session from 2/11/2016. Pleasure of the committee on the consent agenda.
Motion to approve.
Motion by Mr. Fiorello, second by Mrs. Teal. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? That motion carries 7-0. Next item is report out of executive session meeting from 2/25/2016. There were no votes taken, and I need a vote to seal the minutes of the executive session.
So moved, Madam Chair.
Motion by Mr. DeMonica, second by Mrs. Teal. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? And that motion carries 7-0. Next item on the agenda is superintendent's report. Mr. Mitchell.
Thank you, Madam Chair. There are a few things on the agenda, but I actually have a few other things I'd like to share with you, if I may. The first thing I'd like to share is the Sodexo Future Chefs event, which is taking place a week from Saturday on March 5th. I believe it starts at 10:30. Some of you may be judges at that event. And it is, I believe that this is the fourth year of this competition. The goal of the competition, or the goal of the event, it really is not a competition, is to encourage students to develop healthy eating habits. So students are encouraged to come to this event and share some of their favorite recipes, and it will be judged in a variety of categories. And there will be a favorite recipe chosen by the judges, and the winner of this event will have an opportunity to be a part of a national competition. So it's pretty exciting, something that I know that the students are looking forward to, and hopefully we'll have a number of parents and classmates, and hopefully some of us. I'm planning on attending that event. So we're excited about that. Unfortunately, the other item on the agenda, the townwide Learning Health Fair and 5K race that was scheduled for March 26th, unfortunately, that has been canceled. We learned about that in our district wellness subcommittee meeting on Tuesday. The other things, very quickly, that I would like to share with you, March is Youth Art Month, so there are a number of activities, and I think everyone knows that art is a very valued curriculum in the Cumberland School District, and we see evidence of that in everywhere that we go. And so not only do we have talented students whose work will be displayed over the course of the month, we also have some very talented teachers. And you all received an invitation to an event that is actually taking place on that same day, March 5th is going to be a busy day. This will take place in the evening where several of our art teachers will have their work displayed at the AS 220, which I believe is the Providence Arts Center. They'll have their work displayed on that evening from 5 to 7, but then the exhibition goes from March 5th to March 26th. So if you have an opportunity, Mrs. Mitchell and I are hoping to attend on that evening, and everyone has an opportunity to see their fine work. We, as I mentioned, have some very talented art teachers. Everyone will have an opportunity to view their work. Thank you. This next item that I'd like to share with you was actually brought to my attention by a high school student. She's a senior. Her name is Kate Cornell. And Kate approached Mr. Damana and I would say about a month and a half ago, and she attended this program called RAD, which is an acronym for Rape Aggression Defense, and it's actually a certified program that is taught by trained police officers to help girls who are, imagine all of the senior girls who are going to be going to college. It helps to prepare them for some of the situations that they may be in when they do go to college in the fall for the first time. And this program provides them with strategies that they can use should they find themselves in a situation that they don't want to be in. So Kate approached the two of us, and we contacted our police department, and they have been very cooperative, especially Officer Kolick, our school resource officer, and he has arranged several dates for this training to take place. And Kate, using Google Docs, sent this information out to her classmates, and there were something like 42 girls interested in participating in this certification course. So really appreciate the efforts of Chief Damaris, and Kevin Kolick really has done a fine job of making this happen. But the beauty of this is the whole thing started with Kate Cornell and seeing the value in it. And her mom apparently is a social worker, and she took the course in another town. Last but not least, I wanted to, actually there were two more things. One very quickly, on Tuesday, Monday morning, I had the opportunity to attend this function honoring Principal Alan Tonrero. Alan Tonrero, as we all know, is the National Principal of the Year, and our local Rotary Club decided that they wanted to bestow on Mr. Tonrero the Paul Harris Award, which is the Rotary's highest honor. And one of the things that Alan has done in his capacity as principal is really encourage students to volunteer their time. And, you know, we all know Pennies for Patients is a great example of that. Jeans for Teens is another great example. So we have a number of high schoolers that are volunteering their time to a number of very worthy causes. So Alan Tonrero was given this award at this Rotary function. I don't even remember if it was Monday or Tuesday. I apologize. And we also had a number of high school students, because in addition to honoring Alan, we also are in the process of establishing a Rotary program called the Interact Club. So there is this Rotary-sponsored program where Rotarians go into schools. We had the program at Charahoe. It was awesome. So we have these local business people who actually come into the schools and work with our students. So we're really excited about starting this Interact Club, and I apologize for taking so much time, but this is exciting. And last but not least, this took place on Tuesday. That event was on Monday. Senator Pearson through his generosity, we were able to get a $2,000 grant to support English language learners, specifically at BF Norton Elementary School. So we had a ceremony at BF Norton on Tuesday, and it took place in the gymnasium, and there were, I don't know, there had to be 100 students in there, and he, he's got quite a personality on him, and he had a really nice time interacting with the students. So we appreciate his support. As you all know, he has done a lot in his advocacy for the fair funding formula. So we want to thank our friend, Senator Ryan Pearson, for his continued advocacy and support of the Cumberland school system. Thank you.
Thank you. Great information. Does anyone have any questions? Mr. DeModica?
I'm sure this may be off topic, but how's our situation going across the street with the parking? Any update on that?
Well, yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that, Mr. DeModica. We, a lot of time and effort was spent in planning on how to deal with, with that issue of students crossing the street. We have found a person to act as a crossing guard in the morning, so that the two major times, the busiest times, are between, I guess, 10 of 7 and 7:15 when school starts, and at the end of the school day, which is right around 2 o'clock. There is a lot of activity, as we've discussed on many occasions, in the morning in a lot of different places. So Officer Kolick is stationed somewhere near the high school. I don't know exactly, but we actually had a conversation about that today. And the crossing guard now is, across the street every morning, and that appears to be working really well. And students are conscientiously, because I watched this, my window is right there. They're conscientiously attempting to use the crosswalk whenever they can. So to answer your question, there's, I have heard no complaints, and I think this was a nice collaboration between the town hall, the police department, and the school department, with the support of students, and they were a part of the decision-making and problem-solving. Things seem to be going really well. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you. And just to add, for folks who may not be aware, Senator Pearson did start out as a school committee member many years ago, so we had some good training. Next item on the agenda is Chairperson's Report, School-Town Collaboration. I'll withhold my comments, and I'll have Mr. Duffy provide his in the Budget Task Force update. Next item, reports of standing committees, payment of bills. Mr. DeModica.
I'm sure there is no payment of bills this time.
Next, fiscal management update.
And there was no fiscal management meeting this week. Thank you.
All right, and policy and procedure subcommittee update. Mr. Fiorello.
Policy and procedures did meet this evening, and one item that we had was the transgender policy that we've been working on. We're probably going to make some changes to the draft. Dr. Santa will be working on that with the administration, and then she'll bring it back to us in 2 weeks, in which time we hope to be able to vote on it.
Terrific, thank you. And Mrs. Teal, no meeting? Not meet this week. Thank you. Mr. Duffy, how about you?
Yes, I'm going to do my best, sir. I apologize. You're going to be lucky because I'm not going to talk much tonight. We did meet last Thursday. Last Thursday was we believe, our last meeting, and what we really did was took everything from all the meetings and putting it in one big package. And we spent a lot of time, probably 2.5 hours, I think, working on it that night to try to make sure that everyone who was part of the committee, their voices heard in the final report. And at one point, we actually stopped halfway through and kind of reset ourselves because just the direction we were going, we just knew wasn't the right direction. And we kind of took a step back and actually decided, what are we really here for? And kind of what is our story and what are we trying to get out? So at that point, we kind of brought everything back together, and I think that the end product is going to be great. It's going to be a presentation that the community volunteers themselves are going to bring out to the community. It's not something I'm going to bring out. The product is going to be theirs. So they took all the information they heard from the school committee, from anyone who came to the meeting, from the town finance director, from the the school finance director and kind of putting it all together. They're going to be working, I know they're meeting later this week, I believe, to work on their final product that they're going to present. And we hope to roll that out at the townwide, the town school collaborative budget meeting is the hope, and potentially from there they could come here as well. But I think that that's where they're going to do it first. That's their goal for sometime in March to have everything complete. But the end product is going to be their product. We've had numerous discussion back and forth, and I keep removing myself from it to say I was just there to facilitate the meeting and make sure that everyone spoke. But the only way that this has any validity is if it comes from you, the 5 people from the community. So I think it's going to be a great product. I answer any questions on it, but again, I anticipate a finished product within a week or so. So we do not intend to meet again. The group of community volunteers will meet to finalize their product, but I believe the task force itself at this point is complete at this time.
I'm dying to know what the outcomes are going to be. You said one thing, and you said if it wasn't their work, and I know I'm going to chew this all up, it wouldn't have any validity if we were involved.
Well, no, I don't mean it wouldn't have validity, but I think that before this process even started, there were certain people within the community, we'll say, who felt that this task force was created just for us, the school committee or the school department, to say, we need more money from the town, and that's the issue. So I think that when we started this, there was already that cloud or that suspicion about this task force. So I wanted to make sure that when we were in this, that the town finance director had a voice in this, in what was going on with finance in the town. The mayor was there, the town council president was there, and I had 5 volunteers from the community, all with business and financial backgrounds, who volunteered. I did not refuse anyone who wanted to be on this task force on it. So I believe the way I viewed this was those 5 volunteers who are not elected officials, who are not any of our spouses or related to any of us or anyone within the town, that they were kind of the sounding board, that they took all the data from the town, all the data from the school, and any independent data that was collected, so that they can kind of eat it all up and kind of look at it and digest it to figure out what's really happening here and how might we be able to change the direction we're in. It's not that if we have a say in it that doesn't have validity, but I wanted them to come to their own conclusions. We provided all our financial data as the town did, but I didn't want to have a thumb on the final product and let it come from the community members. I hope that clarifies what I meant by that.
It absolutely did, and I do appreciate that. I think having the independent assessment, I think makes perfect sense. So thanks for clarifying that. Anyone else? No? All right, before I skip that, comments from the public. Anyone here wish to speak this evening? Hi there. If you could just start by stating your name.
My name is Geraldine DeLuca Hawk. I'm the mother of 2 young boys who attend Cumberland schools. I have a 7th grader at McCourt Middle School and a 4th grader at B.F. Norton Elementary School. And I guess there's been some confusion because I thought that they were voting this evening on doing away with the February and April breaks and moving to just a March break, even if that is for the 2017-2018 school year. So I wanted to speak on that, and I decided to still speak on that even if that is not being voted upon tonight, just because I think that it will come up again, and I just wanted to express my concerns. And I also have some concerns about the survey that went out that I feel as though I'd like to bring those to light as well. So I'm just going to, I sent an email out to the school committee members, and it was lengthy because I'm also a high school English teacher at South Kingstown High School, so it's kind of an occupational hazard that I'm wordy, so I'm sure you didn't get through the entire email. So But we've been residents of Cumberland for 13 years so far, and we've been satisfied with the education. But I just wanted to convey my strong displeasure and opposition to the proposed calendar that was in the Valley Breeze and that's been discussed. I can speak just for my family, for myself, that this change will drastically impact our family on many levels. We'll lose 2 weeks of family time together. It's also going to cost us financially for more child care, having to pay for 2 weeks that usually we don't have to pay for because of school vacation, and also the child care that I'll need in March and then in June also. But also, even just as important is the fact that my sons and other Cumberland school children will lose out on opportunities that are available only during those times, those vacation times. We personally go to different zoos, museums. We attend the Providence Children's Film Festival, which now, because of the change to the February break, we try to go to that at the beginning of the week when they're off. And I just feel as though they'll be missing out on a lot of wonderful learning opportunities. With regards to the survey, I question the validity and the reliability of the survey. So even if you're not voting on that calendar tonight, in the future, to take a close look at a survey like that, I was actually able to vote twice, and I had heard from several people. I received 2 separate emails. I know some people didn't receive an email. It seemed as though 4 days wasn't a lot of time for people to respond to something as important as this. I was trying to find out, I'm not sure if the survey was available in Spanish at all, or if it was just in English, or if, hard copies could have been made available. So when the article came out in the Valley Breeze, and I'm quoting directly, it says the North Cumberland Middle School was listed by 28% of those responding, and 22% listed community school. McCourt Middle School made up 11% of the respondents, and the elementary schools other than community weighed in at 8 to 10%. Geographically, parents and teachers in North Cumberland from NCMS and community made up 50% of all those responding. And when I read that in the paper, I just really think that speaks volumes, and I think that a lot of those issues as far as not having a hard copy available, again, not sure if it was available in Spanish or not, I think that really helped kind of skew the results a little bit. So I just think that we've endured a lot of changes since we've been here in Cumberland. We were part of the redistricting and moved schools. We've had interim principals at Garvin, increased standardized testing, and I just think that this change would be far too drastic for us to try to get through easily. And I just think that in the future, especially in a state this size, there's absolutely no reason why. I understand the concept of one district having to take the initiative, but I just really think in a state this size, it really needs to be all or none. If it's something that is going to, impact so many lives like this, then it needs to be across the board as much as possible. All of the districts in Rhode Island, not just one. And I just think that we've made a lot of changes, and I think that things are going well, and especially with the announcement of the increased graduation rates, that was really nice to see. And I just think that we need to give things a little bit of time rather than keep adding changes and looking for something new all the time. Let's see how these are working. And just as a side note, something to think about as far as the survey is concerned also, maybe getting input from high school students as well. They're young adults, and many of them are going to be out in the world in the matter of a few short years, so maybe including them in a survey is as important as this one was as well. So thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Gentleman in the back? Nothing? What troop are you from? One Diamond Hill? And what badge is this part of? Communication. This would be the perfect opportunity to come up to the microphone. Thank you. Anyone else? Okay, hearing none. Thank you. Next item on the agenda is public hearing. We have reading of policy, but Mr. Fiorello, there'll be no reading because there was no policy out of policy sub. So we'll move that to the next agenda. Just in the interest of the policy, is anyone here to speak on behalf of that, for or against? And that is J23, the transgender or nonconforming policy. New business, discussion and/or vote to approve 2016-17 school calendar. We have calendar A, which is the calendar that keeps the April vacation. Thank you. We have calendar B, which does move it to the March time frame. I think the opinion of the committee at the last meeting was, regardless of our motivation on changing it or not changing it, no matter what, we didn't want to change it this year because we did want to provide, if we were to do that, any advanced notice regarding that. And so that it is on the school department's website. It's been in our packet for a couple of weeks, and I don't know if anyone has any comments before we have a vote. All right, so we could do it one by one, or if someone has a specific calendar that they want to move passage of, now would be the time to do that. Oh, all together, please.
Madam Chair, I would make a motion that we approve calendar A for the coming school year.
All right, so Mr. DeMonica makes a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Ms.
You told us to do it.
I know, you did a really fine job, too, and Mr. Fiorello. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Okay, so that motion carries 7-0 to approve calendar A, which maintains the April vacation and does not move the April vacation to March. Any further discussion? No. Mr. DeMonica.
That's for 2016, 2017
16.
school year only.
That is accurate. Yes, we do this year by year, and we're obligated to do that by, I think it's the end of February, beginning of March. So we're in good graces. Mr. Duffy.
Just quickly, so I just wanted to add that, I'll speak for myself, that we did listen to the feedback that we received from the survey, and even though by that survey the majority felt that they wanted to move to March, I feel that if that's something we do in the future, it was just too short of a time this year to do it. But I didn't want the majority who answered in the affirmative that they wanted to switch to that we didn't listen to them, just that we feel it needs a little more time if we were going to move to that, that's all. Thank you.
Thanks. And just on the topic of just feedback from students, I know Mr. Mitchell at the last school committee meeting was talking about he's gone in to visit with the high school students, and I think he does it on a pretty regular basis with different student groups to get their opinion on different items and transitions. And you know, I know the comment wasn't meant to be derogatory, but there was something about, you know, too many things. And I think, you know, if you go back a few years, there was this huge sense of urgency on the part of the school committee with regard to student performance and the struggles that the district was having. So we had to move a lot of pieces. And, you know, we don't like that change. Nobody likes that change in their backyard. But it did allow us to put a kindergarten program in, and it did allow us to address some of the major deficiencies at the high school. So, you know, I do respect that you had the concerns, but I think, you know, in general, we felt that we had to move a lot of pieces forward, and we had to have the right administration to do that. And I think we've been successful, as we saw today with the graduation rate increase at Cumberland High. Next item on the agenda is...
Madam Chair?
Yeah, oh, sorry. Mrs. Steele?
Just to clarify, so will the 2017-18 calendar, so that if we move forward, as the majority of the population would like in Cumberland, so that we can give people enough time to make their plans if they're going to change, if we change it to March, are we going to have this back on the agenda in the next month, 2 months? I know it's a little early to set that, but I would definitely like to make that decision.
Yeah, so I think it's completely appropriate to put an item on the agenda related to kind of a motivation around the calendar moving forward. Just keep in mind that November comes and goes, and a new committee may come in and changed everything. Yeah, exactly. And it also allows the administration a little bit of an opportunity to prepare, knowing the direction that the committee would like to be directed to. Did you have something, Mr. Mitchell?
Yes, Madam Chair, since there was interest in a March vacation, one of the things that I've considered in consultation with some teachers, getting some people together and having a conversation about what that calendar could look like with a March vacation, which we would present to you. So it would be a collaboration with teachers to come up with a calendar that we think is acceptable to everyone.
Excellent. And I think what's also been mentioned from a community perspective is, given the fact that many students do attend the University of Rhode Island and their spring break is in alignment with that, that would allow families to have, not have college kids on break in March and then families on break in April. So another factor to consider. Mrs. Teal?
And could I just ask if you've talked about this at the superintendent's meeting, is this conversation ongoing now amongst the superintendents about sort of consolidating these calendars?
Well, certainly there is conversation taking place around eliminating February, because several districts have followed suit in eliminating February. And I mean, truth be told, someone has to, should there be a calendar? Who would argue that there wouldn't be a state school calendar that we would all abide by? But that's not the way it is. It's every district deciding on what the calendar will be. So, certainly there is a rationale for a March vacation and eliminating February and April. I think just like, as I said, since we were the first ones to eliminate February, everyone has followed. My guess is that other districts would follow too. There's conversation about that, and it's like somebody's got to be first.
Thank you.
And I think the Superintendent's Association approved that as their recommendation was the reduced February break. So that is the one that the superintendents are advocating at this very time. Anyone else? Next item on the agenda is so there's no action on the policy, so we'll move on to discussion and/or vote to approve homeschool instruction requests. Mr. Mitchell, were there any this evening?
No, Madam Chair, we didn't have any.
So we'll take no action on that. And we have facilities update. Is that Mr. Prignano? Right up to the microphone so we can hear you.
Good evening. I think the facilities update tonight was specifically regarding energy control systems that we may or may not have placed in schools because of the issues we had at McCourt during that cold weather a week or so ago. Am I right? Well, basically, it's been about a year or so we've been trying to get to that place, and some of the things we've done. We, part of the $5 million bond issue we got approved by the town for health and safety reasons will include that type of work. We did our own $600,000 lease a couple of years ago where we did boiler room improvements, and we updated energy management systems at 3 elementary schools within the last year or so. And then we also just recently, the school committee just a meeting or two ago, approved a 5-year payment schedule to do the last 2 elementary schools that we want to do, put energy management systems in. So it's been getting pieces of money here and there to get to carve these things out. Currently, the district at the 3 elementary schools we did about a year ago, if you recall, we spent about $100,000 on that schools because those schools had systems in place that somewhere in the mid-90s were allowed to go dormant and they weren't using anymore. So the company was able to come in and use a lot of what was there and get these systems up and running. Now they're doing a lot of point-to-point connections in different rooms and stuff to get, because over that time frame there's stuff that's had to be that had to be replaced or whatever. But basically in those 3 schools we have the ability to go in and control much of the energy type of things in that school. We can remotely log in and see what's happening with boilers and temperatures and that type of stuff. So we don't have and we're working towards that. Depends on how much how much you want to spend on this type of stuff. I met with the NE recently, and there's additional work that can be done where we can get text messages, sent to us if something fails, in one of those schools and stuff. But at this point, we just remotely can go in and monitor what's happening and make changes and stuff like that. So you don't have to drive in the middle of, when it's 2 degrees and go into the school to see if what's happening. So that's Ashton, Garvin, and Community, those 3 schools. The 2 schools you just awarded, the other 2 elementary schools have nothing in them right now, and that work will be starting very soon. And we're going to have a kickoff meeting on that very soon. And we'll be able to put in it. There's nothing there, so you'll be able to have whatever type of state-of-the-art system you want, and that's what we're talking about putting in. And the same with the 2 middle schools, McCourt and North Cumberland, with the changing of the ventilators and all the work that's going to go out there this spring and summer. Energy management systems are part of that package that we'll be putting in. It makes sense that you would put in energy management systems when you're doing all that ventilator work and stuff anyhow. And the same thing. There's nothing there now, and you'll be able to put in whatever type of system you want. So that covers like the 2 middle schools and the 5 elementary schools. At the high school, there was a system put in 2010, but there's been a number of issues with it over the years, and I know Sodexo and Wayne Alexander was here in the past, was working with a vendor to try to get some of that up and running. It just isn't working. We have some functionality where we can remotely go in the wellness center and different locations, but it's not completely functional. And we need to Will's been here a month, and we just haven't had a chance to get that vendor in and get exactly what's going on with that. It's a Sodexo vendor who has been getting that up and under control for us. So, but we don't really have much fun. We have some functionality here, but not all that we should, and we need to get that done. But the other schools will all be in really good shape, I would think, by midsummer, when a lot of these projects are completed. I don't know if there's anything else. I know Paul kind of wanted this meeting.
Madam Chair, I'm concerned, Alex, that we have the energy controls, but we're not able to get a text message or email or whatever and say, you got a problem with the boilers. And I think that if we're going to have energy controls, that we need to have that in place. The school district can't afford to have these problems where boilers going down when the technology is out there today to take care of that. I can turn the lights on in my house in Florida from this computer today.
No, and that's what we're working to. Like I said, there's 4 schools that currently have nothing right now, and by the end of the summer, you'll have all that functionality. The 3 schools that we did, there were systems in place. They were kind of older systems, and so we got we kind of changed out the front end and stuff, and we have a server and stuff, and that's Mike. I think is actually working with the E&E technical person to make that a reality now, because it's something, and it wasn't spurred by what just happened. That's something that's we've wanted to bring that functionality along right away. Those systems cost like maybe $125,000 to put into a small school like that. You saw the when you awarded the last 2 elementary schools. We only paid $93,000 for the 3 schools last time because they had some stuff in it. It was a little bit old. It was from the 90s, but it got us some functionality. We got it up and running. Now we can build on that and get that piece.
I just need to know that we're going to do something, whether it's even temporary, through the winter, so that if a school boiler stops working, that we get some type of a message.
Well, that's why, and right now we have the ability to remotely at least go in and control, much of the functionality in those 3 schools. We're not getting the text messages and that type of stuff, so we're relying on Will or Jody or someone to make sure they're going in and checking things and stuff like that. But we do have some control of that. I agree with you. I don't think it'll be a big deal to add this. The additional functionality of getting a text message if something goes down or that sort of thing.
Currently the high school isn't on our agenda yet to upgrade the energy controls.
No.
What can we put in place temporarily even with our alarm companies to monitor these things so that we're not worried about the pipe trees. Mr. Duffy made a comment at the last meeting, who's going to watch, the buildings for the heat to make sure everything is on so we don't have the problems we had at the high school. And here we had 21 classrooms at McCourt go down. And
No, at the high school, it's been a long process, and they've been trying to fix what was put in 2010 that never really worked for us. And Will it's a Sodexo vendor. Will has in contact with him, and we need to set up a meeting and get a better idea of the scope of work, what's left to do. Much of that I'm not even sure myself, because Sodexo was handling that for us. So, but we need to get a handle on that. I agree with you. That's probably our most vulnerable. Other than come next summer, if everything stays the same, this will be the only place that we're kind of vulnerable with. It's a big place, though. We want to change that, obviously.
all right, thank you, Madam Chair.
Anyone else? All right, thanks, Alex.
Okay.
Appreciate
Thank
it. Next item on the agenda is personnel recommendations. Mrs. Fogel.
Good evening. So I have a few things for you this evening. The first, I have several leaves, I'm sorry. So I request the advice and consent of the school committee on the FML leaves of Jennifer Antonelli, grade 5 teacher at BF Norton Elementary School, beginning February 16th, 2016 through the remainder of the school year. Sarah Godino, grade 6/7 math teacher at McCourt Middle School. It says with an anticipated leave date. Her leave actually started on the 22nd. I'm sorry, the 24th, because she gave birth. And she anticipates to return on May 31st. And Erin O'Clair, PE, APE health teacher. It says community school. That's wrong. It's Garvin. With an anticipated leave date of February 16th, which was correct, and her anticipated return date of May 16th.
Pleasure of the committee on the leaves.
Motion to approve the leaves as laid out by Mrs. Folk.
Motion by Mr. Fiorello, second by Mr. Salvatore. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? That motion carries 7-0.
I have two appointments for you. One is for a teacher. I request the advice and consent of the school committee on the appointment of Jerica McKee, early childhood educator at the preschool. This would be effective February 22nd, 2016. Ms. McKee already works for us. You had appointed her back in August as a .5 or half-time teacher. Due to some recent enrollment, the recommendation was made that we increase that to a full-day program, and so she's already an employee. I'm asking to increase her time from a .5 to now a full-time teacher here with us for the remainder of the school year. She's a step 3, no lane. Copay would be 22%. I don't know, do you want me to do the coach too, or you want to do that separate?
All
Okay.
together.
And we found a boys junior varsity baseball coach, Jeffrey Avalon. He would be new to us as far as coaching, so his information was in the drive because he has not been a coach for us before. Matt and a team of several baseball people, I was not on that panel, but several people interviewed, and they were very impressed. I think they interviewed 4 different people, and he was clearly the front runner, so he has accepted the position.
He's a CHS alum.
He
And
is, that's
didn't he go
correct.
to college on a baseball
I
scholarship?
believe he played, and he has been coaching, and I think he was being sought out by another school district, and we may have
Bring him home, too.
sucked him back.
Pleasure of the committee on the appointments. Let's make the motion, and then we can...
Make a motion to accept?
Motion by Mr. Denon. Second by Mr. Duffy. Mr. DeMonica.
Mrs. Fogel, how does the appointment of Mrs. McKee, how does that affect the layoffs that we just did at the last meeting? Because obviously she wouldn't be notified. Well, actually, she could be notified this week, I guess.
So actually, so because she is a non-tenured teacher, regardless of her status of .5 or full-time, she was already notified, and I've actually already sat with her. So the increase in the number of or her full-time status, I guess, does not change the non-tenured status. So the notice would still be the same.
I just saw it step 3 and worried about that. All right, thank you.
That she'd worked prior to coming to us. That's why she's a step 3.
Anyone else? So we have a motion and a second. All those in favor? Those opposed? And that motion carries 7-0. Thank you, Mrs. Fogel. Next item on the agenda is school committee comments, school liaison reports.
Madam Chair.
Mr. Salvatore.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just want to fill you in a little bit on the health and wellness. We met on Tuesday, Superintendent Mitchell and I, and a couple action items. One of them, I mean, these meetings, these health and wellness meetings have really expanded with the community involvement, our own teachers, myself, Mr. Mitchell, and also a lot of outside people coming in, kind of helping to guide us through some other programs. One of the programs, we had Nancy Day come in, and Superintendent Mitchell, maybe you can help me out. I cannot remember her title.
Actually, she's a parent from East Greenwich. I don't know what her profession is, but she's a East Greenwich parent.
She's a coordinator for this program called BOX. So it's actually subsidized by Reebok, and BOX stands for Build Our Kids' Success. So what she does, and she's rolled this out in certain communities, and it's all volunteer. They come into the elementary school level with a type of exercise program in the morning. It helps to rejuvenate the kids in the morning to get them ready to learn throughout the day, get some momentum going. So we're speaking to her about that, and it's a whole program. Somebody would actually go up to Reebok and learn the program, maybe a volunteer, somebody would be a coordinator type of position. So all the way from K through 6, I believe, is what she is working on. So we're getting that going on. And then also we spoke to somebody about our tower gardens as well to see how we can implement the tower gardens within the school, within a science type of classroom, and they're growing their own produce. And lastly is Miss Malcolm with Superintendent, JJM School is working with the Boys and Girls Club to coordinate like a family type of day to use all the resources that the Boys and Girls Club has. And while we were in this meeting, I was able to question Gary from the Boys and Girls Club. There's no alternative motive here, so there's no strings attached. It's just a honest, true community involvement with the Boys and Girls Club. Superintendent Mitchell, you can verify for that. I think I got the hairy eyeballs within the meeting, but I wanted to make sure that this was a true, genuine event, and it really is. And it's nice to see them come together with the community and roll this out to Cumberland. So, thank you.
Thank you. In the future, if you know you're having the meeting, let's put it on the on the agenda here in the subcommittee reports. Happy to do that. Anyone else? Mr. DeModica.
Madam Chair, I'd just like to say congratulations to Mr. Tenero, Mr. Mitchell, Bill Thornton, you, Mrs. Teal, who decided years ago to make some changes up here with the administration, and we're on the right path at 91% graduation rate. Too bad the governor didn't come here. We got some staff here as well, and it's a testament to the work that even though we may not all agree on everything here, we are going in the right place up in at the high school at the 91% graduation rate going up, and I just think we need to point that out. That it's a job well done. It's a moving bus, so to speak, and we're just going to keep on going. Thank you.
Thank you.
Madam Chair, can I just say one thing?
Yes,
I know
of
it's
course.
school committee reports, but I would be remiss. I would agree with, the comments made earlier about, the need in this technological age for us to have some sort of text message or email that would alert us to some sort of problem. In this particular case, a circuit breaker that shut down one of the boilers at McCourt Middle School. But the reason I bring that up, and it was an awful situation. However, I think it's important for all of you to know that there was a lot of coordination that took place. So what could have been much worse really, I think, was handled really well. And I really need to commend Will DeJesus because we don't have this technology available to us right now. He literally went to every building to check to make sure that the heat was on, to make sure that there weren't any leaks. He was at McCourt Middle School when it was, 20 below zero with the wind chill factor. He was there late that night. I believe it was like 11 o'clock or so on Saturday evening, and then he was back there again at 6 o'clock on Sunday morning. And that's when he discovered that the boiler was down. So we were, and because of that, we were literally in a position where we were waiting. We got vendors in anticipation, because the pipes were frozen. We knew that when they melted that we were going to have some water problems. So we had vendors, with the mops and the wet vacs, literally waiting for the pipes to thaw. And through a real nice collaboration, Mike Chandler was involved, Alex was involved. A lot of people over the weekend spent a lot of time doing everything humanly possible to ensure that that school would be ready to go first thing Thursday morning. So it actually worked out well that we had professional development days on Tuesday and Wednesday. And I was there first thing Thursday morning, and the start of school didn't miss a beat. So I just, one of the benefits of meteorology in this day and age, the science is so advanced that we know almost a week in advance what the weather is going to be like. So we start our planning then. So we have many conversations about, pending snowstorms, and this case, this cold that we knew could potentially cause some problems with our facilities. So lots and lots of meetings, lots and lots of coordination, and I just want to publicly thank Will and Mike and Alex for all of the time that they committed to getting this issue under control and for having school ready to go on Thursday. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? We do not have executive session this evening, so Mr. Fiorello.
Motion to adjourn.
Thank you. Do I have a second? Second by Mr. Denon. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Those opposed? And we are adjourned at 8:31. Thank you.